Lauren Markham, and thanks for joining us again on AFL Riverina TV. 50 years ago, the Marrar Bombers won the Central Riverina League Premiership, and 30 years ago, they won the Farrer League flag. This weekend, they'll celebrate both. Their current coach, Nic Casey, is in the studio, as is Paul from AFL Southern New South Wales. Thanks for coming in, guys.
No problem.
Thank you.
So, Nic, those two premierships were won by coaches in their first years at the club, and Marrar's a very proud club, obviously. Do you feel the weight of history kind of bearing down on you this weekend?
Well, until you said that, I hadn't been told that before. So yeah, I guess I do a little bit now. But no, it's Marrar's everyone knows what Marrar's built around, and it's just a great club to be involved in.
And you're on the edge of the top 5, and Tamora's kind of breathing down your neck a little bit. How do you assess your first 6 weeks, and where do you look for improvement?
Yeah, we sat down in December and we mapped out our first 6 rounds, and we really knew at worst we needed to be 4-2, ideally 5-1. We should have been 5-1 besides the last half against Collie. Full credit to Collie, they just ran us off our feet.
And in your first year of coaching, what have been the big challenges and what have you enjoyed the most?
Just enjoy being around a new bunch of blokes, watching them grow and watching the club just be a big part of it all. Challenging parts, you see players play unbelievable in moments, and then you see them drop their standards in other moments. So just trying to get them to be a lot more even.
And you've got East Wagga this weekend, unbeaten. How are you approaching this game?
Oh, we're going out to win. It's after dropping Collie, it's an 8-point game for us. We can't let the top 3 get away from us. You're out there to win every game, and we've got full confidence that we'll walk away with the 4 points.
And Paul, you've seen a bit of Marrar. What do they need to do to upset the Hawks?
I think they can match it physically with the Hawks. There's no doubt about that. Talking to Nic earlier, I think their biggest problem is their skill and their delivery of the ball. They tend to not use the ball as well as they could. They tend to not use players that have got some leg speed as well as they could. They're just a bit one-dimensional sometimes. But I think it'll be a really good contest. I think in the rucks it'll be good. And if whoever wins out of the centre bounces and gets the ball moving. But, Clint Taylor back in the back line. Brad Turner's a good focal point up forward. You can cut Gep off with some goal kicking. But I think they're both even sides. It's just how players take the field on the day and how they utilise the footy and work with it and make sure they use it well and not waste it when they've got control. I think Marrar has done that probably through the middle of the field a few times, and it doesn't get to Brad Turner in his hands enough. So use the ball well and it'll be a good contest.
Taking a look at the full round, Marrar hosting East Wagga, as we just mentioned. Then the Northern Jets have North Wagga. The Rock hosts CSU, and it's Coleambally hosting Barellin out at Coleambally Sports Ground. So to have a look at these other games, guys, the Jets are also celebrating a reunion this weekend when they take on North Wagga. Paul, is this a danger game for the Saints?
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, any reunion brings a lot of people back into the town. North Wagga, though, I know they'll get some players back this week from injury. The Jets have had some injury problems as well. I think they're both pretty well matched up sides. Jets at home, reunion weekend, you'd like to think, yes, they can win at home, but don't be surprised if North Wagga spoil the party, and because they've played pretty consistently last week, and I think they'll be thereabouts again this weekend. And
Nic, you haven't played North Wagga yet, but you did beat the Jets in round 1. What do you like about them?
The Jets, they're just honest. That's, I think, the best way to sum them up. Jacko has them. They know the ability they have. Fisher in the centre, he's just, you'd love another Sam Fisher in every one of your teams. So I reckon the Jets will get them over there. So.
Yeah, and Paul, CSU over at the Rock, that's a big ask, but it's kind of good to see CSU improving.
Oh, well, CSU played really well against Marrar earlier in the year. They were consistent. They played some good footy. It's a big ask. I mean, the Rock are on the improve, there's no doubt about it. They've got a pretty potent forward line in Casey and Carey, and young Wardy. But I don't think they've got the goods to knock CSU off you. But they won't get all their own way because CSU have improved immensely over the journey, and I think it'll be a good game. But I'd suggest a 10-goal win to the Rock.
And Nic, you and East Wagga are the only sides to beat the Magpies this year. Talk us through, what was it like to get that win on Anzac Day?
Oh, it was great. It was our club, and the Rock, especially our club, we put a lot of effort into setting that game up, and the Rock supports it 100%. But for our blokes to step up on the night and to appreciate what the night was about was unbelievable. You're looking at the Rock side and you look at it on paper and it's pretty impressive when you can see Big Carey up forward, that's for sure.
Yeah, and the Blues host the two Blues. Paul, it's almost impossible to tip against the home side here.
Oh, I wouldn't think so. Colley's form last week was good, as Nick would know. They're hard at it. They've got some good balance across, with Mackie and those sort of guys running around. Mitchie Carroll's a good leader. Barrellan are working really hard to get to where they need to get to. They won't be strong enough. They've got players like Hawker and Overs and those sort of guys that are really good footballers, but they're just not consistent across the park with their player numbers. And so I suggest Colliambley will do okay.
And Nick, Colliambley did have one over you guys a couple of weeks ago. They've got some quality players. But what did you make of Dean Pound?
I'd love one of him, that's for sure. He's a ripper. You just know what you're going to get with Dean, and as soon as the ball hits the ground, he turns into a fifth-on bowler. Mitch is very lucky to have him, that's for sure.
Well, that's it for the Farrar League. Thanks to you both for coming in, and Nick, all the best on Saturday.
Thank you.